had a little bit of time to process. So what do you guys think about the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship this year? Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, US has won 2 world championships back to back. And this year was the first time that we had a double US finals. I'm impressed. I really am. You know, that hyperbolic time chamber that, the COVID years, as we're going to call them, was like the secret training montage arc that a lot of people were like, yeah, it was only during COVID that the U.S. realized they need to stop being bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's one of the craziest things to sit here and think about. That's the genuine perception that a lot of the player base has, is during those COVID years, the player base had this training arc to overcome every other player in the world. Or maybe Max C dilutes the way that people look and play the game. Look at Master Duel, for example. One of the biggest plays out of the weekend from the player base was Jesse playing into a Max C and resolving a card destruction to take away his opponent's deck at the end of that. And I can tell you, having read a lot of the comments from a lot of the player base out here, a lot of people didn't necessarily think about that being a viable strategy. And they're like, wait, you can technically deck out your opponent via Max C? Why, yes, you can. You have so many cool play lines that you can do, and that's why looking at the way that the game is, and we really do bring up you gotta think outside the box a lot of these times. There are a lot of plays that you're just going to look at and it's not gonna click with you until you go, wait, I'm under Max C in this situation. What if, I give my opponent 10 to 11 cards? Well, they've got like 14 left in deck, so we can get them into the range to resolve this card destruction, a tech choice that normally might not show up in a lot of these decks, and take the W in a very unexpected manner. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about. I know, like, the last couple of formats have been very, there's not really a lot of craziness that you can think of, there's not a lot of creativity bursting out here with this, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game as a whole, is a game that you should expect the unexpected. And okay, so this year's Worlds Finals weren't necessarily, at least for the TCG, weren't the most crazy exciting in the world. You're sitting here and you're like, well, like Yubel having reflect damage against Snake Eye. Yubel might have a decent matchup. I mean, yeah, sure. Phantom being a monster negate for the counterplay that Flamberg could do. The world's ban list kind of putting Snake Eyes into maybe not like the greatest of favorable positions. I mean, okay, yeah, sure. I will give you both of those. Both of those make sense to me. I don't see anything out here to kind of counter that argument. You know what I mean? But looking at everything, yeah, I'm impressed. Jesse put up a fantastic show for the player base. The Rush Duel section was actually very interesting to watch. If you've not watched like a lot of Rush Duel stuff in general, and actually, I gotta give a shout out to Konami here. While the TCG doesn't necessarily have Rush Duel anywhere near the pipeline here, I'm kind of hoping that we eventually get the Rush Duel stuff. I think it would be really nice. But, while we look at all the Rush Duel stuff, it's kind of cool to see that players out here are enjoying what is available for Master Duel, getting the chance to kind of experience this. That's kind of what the World Championship is. It's a celebration. Yeah, like, you might not play Duel Links. Might not play the Rush Duel or Speed Duel side of the equation. All right, but this is your chance to watch it and go, huh, that's kind of cool. Kind of wash your hands with it afterwards and then come back next year and watch it again. But to other people, that's the format that they choose to play. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot more to it now than you would have had years ago. Speed Duel and Duel and the Rush Duel for the dueling side of the things, and then now for the TCG, and then of course you have Master Duel. That, and of course we'll count the OCG too, and then of course Chinese, Asian, English, Korean. You got 8-9 viable formats to play this game now for whoever chooses to play it. Yu-Gi-Oh! As an IP has grown so much larger than I think people realize. And you know what? I don't necessarily feel like the World Championship this year was a good celebration of the game. Yeah, Worlds would have been nice to have been open this year for sure, but, the World's envelopes out here, it was nice to be able to go to your locals and watch Worlds at your locals with your friends. I think that was what Konami was trying to go for. Now, granted, you didn't have to spend money to travel to your locals, or to, Seattle. I think that's a pretty majorly important thing to remember out here. Konami giving this to you and your locals. Now, you might not have known this, but if your locals signed up for the watch party, they got an extra 20 of these. All right? So many stores in all of the areas got so many of these. All right? These, as of filming this, I've seen anywhere from 60 to 160 in value. It's a big swing. I've seen more people trying to sell them like the 80 to the 100 range, though. That's been a fairly common thing in my personal opinion in terms of, what people have been trying to do. So, that's an extra free chunk of money if you won the raffle that Konami gave to you, or, you just got a Quarter Century Swords of Revealing Light and Doom Caliber to add to your collection. By not having to have Worlds open, they were able to celebrate the game with your local experience, drive players to the local LGS, and help out those local LGSs. Now, the World's ban list being enforced was not something that people wanted to deal with. And I am going to be honest with you, dealing with another round of Snake Eyes with Beatrice and all of this was not what people wanted. People did not want to deal with the BS of it, and I understand that way too well out here. Snake Eyes is such a boring matchup at 150%. I get it. I understand. All right? Not having to deal with that anymore is good. And also, you released a good format ban list right beforehand, so you can't blame a lot of people for not being too happy about being forced into playing Worlds list. Like, you cannot blame anybody whatsoever about that. Just throwing that out there. So, Worlds this year, there were a lot of key highlights, a lot of good things. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not dead. I actually, what's that? Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't have to listen to the Yu-Gi-Oh's dead talks anymore. We're finally past that. We're heading on into, people are starting to test the format. People are realizing, things maybe aren't as bad as they actually look. Timmy's not stuck in a well anymore? Like, wow. Yes, we are, next year's Worlds is going to have to deal with Maxi too. Mulch Army is going to be back. Let's call it what it is. I actually truly wonder how long the Mulch Armies will stick around. We can come back and reference this video next year and make fun of me if I'm incorrect about this, but wouldn't it just be the funniest thing if all these Mulch Armies came out and they all just eventually went to one? What if that was Konami's master plan all along? Was just to print these Mulch Armies and then just put them to one so that you would kind of look at all of them. We're still expecting another Mulch Army to be released for Banishment and Grave. So then when you just look at playing one of each of the Mulch Armies and then Konami be like, oh, hey, you got the chance to have all three of them as one-ups and they all interact with each other. Wouldn't that just be the most interesting master plan that you could throw at the game and just watch players just kind of be forced to kind of figure it out with what they could do? That would be intriguing. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. What was your favorite moment from this year's World Championship? What do you want to see more of? And please, I look forward to hearing from you guys. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right?
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.